So what are the top 5 questions I get asked from people wanting to move to Bend, Oregon? Hey everyone, I'm Carin Jackson, your Bend real estate expert with Living in Bend, Oregon. And today we are going to cover the most frequently asked questions I get from people thinking about moving to Bend, Oregon to help give you a better idea of what it's like and how you can move here even if you live across the country. And some things you should know before moving to Bend, Oregon. Make sure to stick around to the end to see what the #1 most asked question is. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can get weekly videos all about Bend. Okay, let's dive in. Except for the last question I will answer later, these are in no particular order. Okay, first question. Where should I live in Bend? Some of this will depend on budget, and I'll talk about the cost of living in a minute. But as a general rule, the west side of Bend is more expensive than the east side. Is walkability important? We have a few walkable areas in Bend: the Northwest Crossing area, downtown Bend, Old Mill District, and soon the Petrosa neighborhood on the east side will be built out to feel similar to the Northwest Crossing. Do you like space with very few neighbors, or do you want to be in the thick of it? Okay, so areas to the south of Bend like Deschutes River Woods, Sun River, and Three Rivers all have larger lots and more space and definitely feel more wooded and like you are in the middle of the forest. Now, areas to the north like Terrebonne and even possibly Redmond have a little bit more of an expansive high desert feel, and some places like Redmond even have kind of a farm. There's a lot of farmland there. So if you like that vibe, you might even want to check out Redmond. And I've done a video on the differences between Bend and Redmond, and you'll want to check that out by clicking on the card right up there. What do you like to do? The west side is for the people who want to be close to the mountain trails and the river. It's really where you can experience being outdoors and feel like you're in the mountain without, having to be 30 minutes away from downtown Bend. You are merely minutes away. So if you work at the hospital and you prefer to walk or ride your bike, the northeast side is great. It's very close by, and most of the homes are a little on the older side, but a lot of them have been fixed up and are up to code and up to today's standards. And because of their age, they are a little cheaper than the rest of Bend. Do you have an architectural style that you prefer? You'll want to touch base with an agent like myself if there is an architectural style that you prefer, so that way we can help guide you to the right area and neighborhood that will be the best fit for you. Okay, next up, what is the cost of living in Bend? As I mentioned earlier, the west side and the east side have very different housing prices. Over on the west side, the median house price right now is $885,000, and the days on market is an average of 20 days, but with a median of 5 days. And there are currently only about 85 homes on the west side. Now on the east side, the median is $541,000. And the days on market is an average of 14 days, but again, the median is 5. And there are only around 69 homes currently on the market. As you can see, we don't have a lot of homes that are on the market, so you have to act fast. It is not quite as crazy of a market as it was in the summer of 2021, but our market is still very, very active with multiple offers on certain price points. So make sure that you reach out and I can help you navigate all of the ins and outs of our current market. Some people want to rent before they purchase, which is completely understandable, and most of the time I definitely recommend that. However, the rental market here is even crazier than the purchase market. So you'll be competing with at least 20 different applicants, which means you'll probably be applying to many different homes or apartments. I'm going to be doing a follow-up video for the full cost of living breakdown for 2022 in the next couple of weeks that will include utilities, gas prices, purchase and rental market costs, groceries, entertainment, and food. So keep an eye out for that. Another question a lot of you probably have is, how do I buy a house from outside of the area, and should I rent first? As I just mentioned, our market moves quickly here, and you'll have to be open to viewing homes using some sort of video medium. I help my clients the best way that fits their personality and needs. So if you want to see a house live, we'll hop on FaceTime or Zoom and walk through the house. Or if you are someone who wants to be able to review it later, I can record it and send it over to you. Or I can do both. It's really important that you do your research and hire an agent who specializes in relocation, maybe even relocated themselves like I did. It may seem scary to buy a house sight unseen, but I have many clients purchase this way, and I do what it takes to make this process as comfortable as possible. If you plan on using a pod type system to move here, you'll need to check with your preferred company because not everyone delivers here. Another tip that will help you move from outside of the area to Bend is to purge as much as you possibly can. This will save you space and money on whatever moving system you do choose. As I just brought up a little bit ago, some people choose to rent here for a bit before they do buy to make sure that they find the right area that's a good match for their lifestyle. Real estate agents don't work the rental market in Oregon. That's the job of property managers here. But you'll still want to find an agent who is willing to be your proxy if the rental requires someone to view the home before renting it. I do this for clients all the time, and I treat the situation like it was a purchase. I can do live or recorded videos to help make the move a little easier. If you've stuck around this long and like this video, could you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps this video out. Okay, next question. Can I buy a house and rent it out as an Airbnb or vacation rental? So within the city limits, there are a few rules and more may be coming down the road. So you definitely want to make sure that you're paying attention to where you're purchasing a home, because within the city limits, you cannot have another vacation rental or short-term vacation rental within 250 feet of another vacation rental. We did this here because we had full neighborhoods turning into Airbnbs, and that can obviously hurt the local market and the people that actually live here. So we have tried to come up with a way that seems fair to both people that want to invest here in Bend and the people that live here. Something else to consider if you're thinking about purchasing a home to use as a vacation rental is that some neighborhoods have HOAs that don't allow them. So make sure that when you are doing your house hunt that you check or have your agent check to make sure that it's even allowed in the neighborhood that you want to purchase in. So outside the city limits doesn't have the same rules and restrictions as inside the city, but it could still have limitations. So make sure that you are checking everything in the HOA rules or CC&Rs of the neighborhood to make sure that it is allowed. All right, and the number one question I get asked is, what are some things I should know about moving to Oregon or Bend before I move there? All right, so this is going to be kind of like a random hodgepodge of stuff. So let's start off with the first thing, which is you can't pump your own gas. In fact, if you try, they'll come running out. They'll tell you to stop. Like, you can actually be fined. So and there is a few little caveats to that. If you live in Oregon in a smaller community, you are allowed to pump your own gas, but for some reason in larger areas, they don't want you pumping your own gas. So next up, we have no sales tax. I'm pretty sure most of you probably already know that, but just in case, I like to throw it in there just because it's an extra little bonus. It doesn't rain here very much, and we get a lot of sunshine. There is no way I could live in other areas of Oregon because it's too cloudy and too rainy. Bend seems to be like the perfect little mix of rain, snow. Obviously, we get a good amount of snow here, but we get really sunny days in the mix too. So I personally get affected by when there is not enough sun. So like I said, couldn't live anywhere else in Oregon because otherwise it doesn't get enough sun. You cannot buy liquor in a regular grocery store or convenience store. Liquor stores only. There is one little exception here in Bend, and that is at Newport Market, and that's because they have a caged area in the middle of the grocery store that basically is treated like its own little entity. But otherwise, if you are having a party or you just want to have some alcohol at your house, minus beer and wine you can get at grocery stores or convenience stores, but liquor, you have to go to an actual liquor store. We have a ton of breweries in and around Bend. I'm sure that's not a surprise to most of you. It's probably one of the reasons why that you're thinking about moving here. But there are over 20 in Bend and 30 in Deschutes County. And at one point, Bend even had more breweries per capita than any other town in the entire country. But right now, we've kind of slipped, and now we're number 3. License and registration fees are crazy cheap compared to some states like California. So let me break it down a little bit for you so you can see and get a good idea of what those registration fees and costs will be for you here in Oregon. Vehicles year 2000 or newer and have a combined rating of 0 to 19 miles per gallon is only $122 for 2 years. When I moved here and I registered my car, this is not something I knew. It was an extra little bonus. I get to the counter at the DMV and they tell me what my fees are, and it was crazy. I couldn't believe it was only $122 for 2 years. Now, there is some other costs that are a little bit more than that, and I can cover that right now. So vehicles that are 2000 and newer but have a combined rating of 20 to 30 miles per gallon is $132. So only $10 more for 2 years, so $5 a year extra. All right, and then vehicles that are year 2000 or newer and that have a combined rating of 40 miles per gallon or higher is $152, and vehicles that are all electric is $306. It may seem a little weird and backward that we are charging more for our vehicles that are saving on gas and our environment. However, because we don't have sales tax here, a lot of our tax is for fixing roads and things like that, come from gas tax. And since obviously vehicles that are all electric or that are a hybrid, they don't use any to very little gas at all, they're not contributing to the wear and tear, to the money that goes towards the wear and tear and rebuild. So just a little bit extra, but still crazy cheap. I mean, the most is $306 for 2 years. Okay, something else that you should know before moving to Bend is, especially if you're thinking about living on the east side or working on the east side, is that we have a train that runs through town and can cause delays because it constantly, and I mean constantly, stops on the road blocking traffic for unknown amounts of time. It wasn't that long ago that I saw somebody post on one of the local Facebook groups the other day asking about the train and was it normal for it to cross the tracks, and yes it was. And it doesn't always happen for, an extended length of time, but unfortunately that day, it happened to be on the road for an hour and a half.
Thought there was a big backup on Reed Market Road in Bend this afternoon? You weren't alone. A Burlington Northern Santa Fe spokesperson confirmed a locomotive picking up cars in Bend had a mechanical issue that left the engine and its car stopped, blocking the crossing at Reed Market Road. One driver tells News Channel 21 he waited 90 minutes.
So if you're stuck in a place where you can't maneuver around, those poor people were stuck in front of that train or behind that train for an hour and a half. Okay, something a little bit more on the positive side, the water quality here is incredible. Out of anywhere I've lived, this is the best out of the tap water I have ever had. We don't need filters, we don't need to buy bottles of water, and that obviously ultimately saves money and the earth from more plastic. The pace of life is much slower compared to major metros. I've had many clients say it's a huge adjustment for them. Contractors can be booked out for weeks, if not months, so just keep this in mind if you are someone that has to have things done immediately. This could be very, very frustrating. Local stores may also be closed on Sundays, and a lot of places are closed down by 5. There isn't a lot of things to do at night either, so if you are a night owl, you may want to reconsider a move here. There are things to do like concert festivals and other events, but for a city of over 100,000, the options are limited in my opinion. Of course, there are always the bars and breweries. Do you have a question I didn't cover? Let me know down in the comments below. Or, of course, you can reach out to me and I'd be happy to help with your move to Bend, Oregon. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to get weekly videos all about Bend. See you in the next one.